What up, VOD watchers? We back. And let's see. What happened last time? Well, we investigated some more about the murder, and we decided to we got Ginny to agree to let us defend her in court for the apparent murder of Mr. Mr. Windy Bank. Yeah. That's his name. So that's how we ended up here. We going to court now. The Adventure of the Unspeakable Story Trial Part 1. Let's get it. Oof. Go. When I woke up the following morning, the sun was already gone. Outside the window, the rain came down in sheets. So began an even longer day than the last, that I would remember for the rest of my days. Oh, dude, our assistant's gone. We're assistantless. That's crazy. Alright, so it's the 17th of April, 9:32 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber? Oh, what happened to the coat? Morning, Gina. I'm determined to prove your innocence today. I'm sure we can do it. So where's your friend then? Sorry? You know, her in the fancy dress. Sarto, or however you say it. I don't know. Miss Susudo had to leave early this morning. She was already gone by the time I woke up. You alright with that? Alright with that, are you? Forget about me if you like. Go ahead and see her off. It's fine. As though Miss Susudo and I won't meet again one day. Even so, you, Gina, you only get one chance. Trial today is all we have. Good morning, you two! Oh, she's got the cat! Look at that cat! How are you feeling, Ginny? You managed to sleep? Oh, Waga hi! Look at that. Iris, what are you doing here? What do you mean? When a friend is in need, we show our support. Isn't that right, Waggy? Yeah. Oh, the cat got away. Oh, the cat got away. Oh no. Waggy! A way to show your support, kitty. Let him have a nose around. What harm can it do? Oh, that reminds me. I bought a paper on the way here. Now, would you like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Runo? Ginny? Oh well, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way. Now, always take the good news first. You might not live to hear the bad. Yes, that question always gives away people's personalities. Let's not go there. Are you a good news, or is anyone here a good news first kind of person or a bad news first kind of person? All right then, I'll give you the bad news first. A record amount of rain has fallen this morning, and carriages all over the capital are struggling to move. Huh? Bad news was a weather report? So I hope that Susie made her train to Dover, and that train isn't delayed on the way to port. Gosh, yes. Alright then, so what's the good news? Well, the rain is forecast to subside this afternoon. Even if the train is delayed, we should be able to make up the time later. Well, that's the good news, isn't it? I couldn't give a monkeys, really. Only all good news cancels out the bad. And look, Trial has made the headlines too. Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse plunder. Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse plunder. See? How'd you like that? I'll let them say what they want and see if I care. I can't because you're covering your face. Don't worry, Runa will show everyone that this headline is nonsense. It will? And then in tomorrow's paper, the headlines will be... Discharged diver is dauntless do-gooder. Isn't that right, Runa? Oh, yes, let's hope so. Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. How was that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it? Still here. Alright, well, we got today's paper in the court record. Good luck then, Runo. I'll do what I can. Obviously, I don't know the law like Susie does, but still. I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you moral support and encouragement. I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, to be honest, but... Thank you, Iris. That's very kind of you. 1 second. Know the drill by now. I'm missing, I've gone fishing. I'm back. No fish, but I did get a croissant. That's a croissant, guys. Poisson, as they say in Europe. Oh yeah, Iris. Oh yeah, Iris. Yes, Ginny? Well, I was wondering, Zal, about Sholmes. Did they fix him up alright? Yes. The operation was a great success, but really still hasn't come around yet. What do you mean he was awake in the last scene of the last part? I asked a friend of mine at Scotland Yard. Send a telegram as soon as he wakes up. Sir Gregson will let us know the moment there's news. Oh, right. No sister, no miss. All down to me today. Prove that Gina is innocent of this crime. Miss Gina Lestrade, counsel for the defense. The trial is about to begin. Please make your way to the courtroom. It's time then. Yes, let's go. Let's go, Gina. Iris. Lead the way, Runo. Popping in before I work out. Got you on lurk. Prosecute they asses. Dude, what up, Kona? Thanks, man. Good luck. Have fun in your workout. Poor Gina. She put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. Appreciate the lurk. I have to believe in her from start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure my victory here. Learn anything from my great friend. That. I wonder who the prosecutor is. Is it gonna be fucking the Reaper guy again? I already forgot his name. 17th of April, 10 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Let's go. It is a guy. Van Zykes was his name. Van Zykes. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. The trial shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready. Lord Van Zykes. My lord. Remind me, how many years ago was it that you withdrew from... How many years ago was it that you withdrew from the public prosecution, sir? Some 5 years ago. Yes, and then 2 months ago you resurfaced somewhat unexpectedly. And here you are again today. Are there some circumstances of which the court should be aware to have led to this erratic behavior? In what one might describe as your former life 5 years past, you dealt exclusively in matters concerned with the highest echelons of society and government. Really? Today you chose this simple case of burglary and murder. I confess I find it more than a little befuddling, counsel. There are two types of person I cannot abide. Firstly, Those wealthy scoundrels hide behind a mask of philanthropy to keep the public at large. He means Mr. McGilded. You defended against the Reaper 2 months ago. Yes, I just about managed to work that out, thank you. If I'd known what a monster he was, I never would have defended him. Secondly, even more loathsome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies only to effect total betrayal in the final hour. In other words, the confidence tricksters from those tiny islands of the Far East, the Nipponese. This guy's the racist? What? Did you really just say that? Dude, I'm saying that, dude. He was pretty racist there. He means you now, Runo. I actually managed to work that out too. Thank you, Iris. Total betrayal. What are you talking about? Lord, look of hatred in Lord Van Zyke's eyes. Is directed solely at me, or was he talking about all Japanese people? An alarmingly scathing explanation, Lord Van Zyke's. He just declared that he was a racist in court. What the fuck? Still, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey, feared by all London's malefactors. Your lordship is too kind. Now, jurors, the 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Oh shit, look at that guy! The old man from before was a doctor this whole time? What the fuck? Look at him with his little doctor coat. Wait, is that guy isn't that guy the Russian guy that was like the revolutionary or something from the second case? The juror number 6? Are you ready to hear the evidence placed before you and determine the guilt or innocence of the defendant? Former lieutenant of the British Army here, don't you know? Chaps like me were born ready. Clean crockery, clean cutlery, and a clean conscience. His lordship's motto is very appropriate here, I think. Everything will be stereoscopic in the future. Absolutely, absolutely everything. And I'm ready for it. I don't understand it. I can't have left it here. It's not possible. Could I? Women indispensable in society. Stop. Female-centric future awaits. Stop. He's doing, instead of a typewriter, now she's doing Morse code. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. Something wrong right now? Oh, not exactly. It's just I'm fairly sure I recognize these jurors. Almost all of them, in fact. Really? Funny coincidences like that do happen from time to time, don't they? But it's quite strange. The jurors chosen at random from London's 6 million inhabitants, you know? I've been led to believe, but something tells me I'm being... It's almost like it's a game and they didn't want to make unique models every time. Very well now. Now, Lord Van Zykes, the court calls upon the prosecution to introduce the facts of the case. As you wish, my lord. Allow me to begin with a word of warning to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Short. There has never been a more self-evident case of cold-blooded murder. Oh, yo, Solomon was first? Congratulations. How's your day going? Did you make it home all right? The victim, Mr. Pop Windybank, proprietor of a pawn shop on Baker Street, was shot from behind and died instantly. The prosecution presents this photographic print of the crime scene. I'm just here to remark how wild it is. Nobody got first in the 15 minutes, despite Kona already having been here. Yeah, you know, it happens. These things tend to happen. Yeah, people be busy sometimes. I was work from home today, thankfully. Gotta go to the store now though, dude. Work from home is very nice, dude. Have fun in the store. As the court will observe, there is a single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. Have fun prosecuting the ass. But I'm the defense attorney though. But yeah, I get it. Later, Solomon. Have fun at the store. Go get some chicken. The evidence suggests that the bullet pierced the man's heart, resulting in a near-instant death. Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner. His report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. And what's that supposed to tell us? It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Someone like the accused, you might say. Oh! Prosecution wishes to present the autopsy report and crime scene photograph as evidence, my lord. Indeed, the court accepts. Hand them to the bailiff, please. Let's go. Got some evidence. I now ask the court to turn its attention to this plan of the establishment. The proprietor was found in the storeroom where he kept articles onto him. A windowless room with a single point of entry. Door to the main shop that was found locked. In this sealed chamber, there are only 2 persons present. The victim, Mr. Windybank, the accused. It further interests the court to know when the accused was discovered at the scene. He had in her hand the gun used to fire the fatal bullet. That's that then, isn't it? Nothing more to say. That grubby little girl a pickpocket anyway? One of those filthy drabs that live in the slums in the Far East. Oh well, it's a matter of time before she got blood on her hands then. What are the jurors waiting for? The girl's guilty as hell. We can't jump to conclusions here. We mustn't assume her guilt just because of what she has done. Just because of what she has to do to survive. My learned Nipponese friend, it is you who mustn't jump to conclusions. The prosecution has barely begun presenting its case. Conveniently, this appalling act of murder did not go unobserved. There were witnesses. Good gracious! After their testimony, this girl's true nature will be exposed. Pitiful pickpurse or cold-hearted killer. Here's to establishing the truth. The court will take the floor plan and firearm into evidence. Hand them to the bailiff, please, your Lord Van Sykes. At once, my lord. This isn't good. I feel like the mood in here has turned very gloomy all of a sudden, Reno. I think that's because it has. Oh, he took it off already. He took off his cape already. Let us begin. Bring forth the witnesses to the foul murder of Mr. Pop Windybank on the 16th of April this year. What the fuck are these guys doing here? Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is, baddie. Professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin. Occupation's, same as him. Tobias Gregson, Scotland Yard Inspector. That's right. We're what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers. I like these guys. You didn't pose. What are you looking at me? What are you looking at me like that for? Don't let me in with you lot. Oh blimey, that's cold. Don't you know what we're going through? It's our older bruv. Lost contact with him. We have. Because we're scouring every shady corner of the capital. Then last night we came across you, the very spit of the bloke. Ain't that right, Ringo? He is, Nash, he is! Very spit of him. So we decided that... So we decided there and then what we was gonna do. We was gonna call ya Big Bruv Sulky. Come on, leave it out, you two. Skulking? That's before he's run out of chips. Well then, Inspector Sulky Gregson. Begging your pardon, my lord, but my name is Tobias. What I would like to know, Inspector, is what are you doing in the witness stand? The Skulkin brothers are currently under arrest, my lord, on suspicion of theft. Thieves are they, these three? Three, yes! No, my lord, begging your pardon, but please don't lump me in with this lot. 2 nights ago, these two brothers illegally entered an establishment with intent to burgle. But in the course of their nefarious action, they became embroiled in a far more sinister crime. By Jove, you mean to say? What an extraordinary coincidence! Indeed, my lord. While attempting to burglarize the pawnbrokery, they witnessed the proprietor's murder. Oh, he's on a box because he's short. Order! Order! The various trespasses of these brothers is not the subject of today's proceedings, so they will naturally face a trial in the very near future. With your lordship's permission, I'd like to remain in the stand to keep these gents on the straight and narrow. Of course, Inspector. Skeptical as I am about the caliber of these witnesses, I will permit them to take the stand. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you will now testify before the court. Describe the events of the night in question. What exactly you saw. Happy to! Because a Skulkin's never because a Skulkin's never skulkin'. What? Get out with it! Stupid. They need supervision. Look at these guys! We was walking down Baker Street in the small hours, and the gas door was ajar, see? It was like some kind of sign begging for us to go in, it was. But once we got inside, called blimey lummy, we heard a gunshot from the back room. Went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. We never done nothing, governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that nice and quiet. You did not leave nice and quiet, bruh. A terrible coincidence, it would seem. At the precise moment that these miscreants entered the property, an even more sinister crime was afoot. The witness's testimony is consistent with the crime scene in every detail. The door providing access to the storeroom from the main shop was indeed locked from the inside, and within, only the victim and the accused were found. I must say, it does appear to be an overwhelmingly simple case. Still, the defendant may cross-examine the witnesses now, of course. Counsel, if you please. Counsel? Yes. What's the matter, Reno? Sorry, I was stunned into silence for a minute by the blatant lies being told by the pair in the stand. I know that's all nonsense because I saw it with my own eyes. I just have to expose their testimony for the pack of lies that it is. Thing I want to do is when they said they were left quietly, because they definitely shot Mr. Sholmes. Hold it! You didn't do or take anything? Is that your story? Well, it was bedlam soon as, weren't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out of me Lucy lockets. So with no time to take your hands out of your pockets, you just left nice and quietly, you say? That's right, governor. Nothing we ain't more than violence. Peace-loving nibblers we are, not bludgeoners. We are, Nash, yeah, we are. Never pulled me dukes out of me Lucy Lockets. So you'd clearly like us to believe. Okay, come again. As you fled from the pawnbrokers that night, did you not run into anyone else? And did you not fire a gun at that person? Saints alive, they fired a gun, you say? Ah! Blimey, governor! You ain't telling us it was you in the doorway? It was. Why, the bleeding Nora? Didn't you mention that before? You were armed with a gun, and as you fled the scene, you fired that gun at London's greatest detective, Sherlock Sholmes. They shot the great Mr. Sholmes? I did hear that actually. There was a rumor he'd been rushed to the hospital. The great Sholmes? That's beyond the pale. On the night in question, this pair were arrested by the police within minutes of discovery of the crime scene. Their suspicious countenance rapidly gave them away. And when searched, a firearm was indeed found in their possession. Furthermore, the barrel shows signs a shot having been fired from it. The prosecution invites his lordship to examine the firearm recovered from these brothers. Yes, indeed. Remnants of powder from around the muzzle, as you say, counsel. The court will hold this weapon as evidence. Ah, the Skulkin brothers' gun! Now, my learned Nipponese friend. Yes? Here's to you successfully presenting the evidence. For yes, there are telltale signs of spent powder on this gun and a single bullet missing from the cylinder. But the prosecution demands evidence that it was fired at the scene of the crime under scrutiny in this trial. Objection! I was a witness! I don't need evidence! I was there!
Objection!
However, the rest of us in the courtroom were not. The defense fails to prove evidence in support of its rash claim. We shall have no choice but to toast your incompetence. Move on. Were ballistic markings a thing here yet? Evidence that these two fired a gun before they left Windy Banks that night. The court demands that all claims are affirmed with clear proof. What evidence shows that these witnesses unloaded a firearm at the pawnbrokers last night? Alright, well, I wanna say the proof is this, because there's a bullet right here. Yeah, it's gotta be this, right?
Take that!
The evidence is in this portfolio. What on earth do you have there, counsel? During the course of our investigations, we discovered a number of bloodstains. Not trusting the police to do their job they're trained to do? How arrogantly Nipponese of you. But, well, anyway, we analyzed all the blood samples we found and recorded the results in this portfolio. And you claim to have evidence on the court is demanding therein? Yes, my lord. No more dallying then, counsel. Present the pertinent evidence at once. What do you have in this portfolio that proves these witnesses unloaded a firearm at the scene? Right here, dude. There's a bullet right there.
Take that!
What is that? Explain! Photographic print taken at Windy Bank's pawnbroker at the day of the incident. From the scene of the crime, is it? Is that a bullet hole? And if my eyes do not deceive me, it appears to be a bullet still lodged in there. Yes, as your lordship noticed, the bullet pierced Mr. Windybank's calendar. The date shown being the 16th of April, the very day of the pawnbroker's death. It occurred at 1 hour after midnight. But this indicates that a separate shot had been fired sometime after the calendar had been set on the 16th. That's right, and while it isn't irrefutable, the defense believes it is credible evidence that the witnesses did fire a round of their gun into pawnbrokers that night. Ah! Order! How does the prosecution stand, Lord Van Zykes? You gonna crush it? Or are you gonna throw it at the light? Oh, he's not there. That's the direction my learned friend wishes to take. The prosecution has no objection. What? Oh, he throws it at the thing. You'll forgive me for flinging my hallowed chalice aside in disgust at the repugnancy it exposes. Yes, on the night in question, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery illegally. And unlike the bold baddies they claim to be, opened fire on the new arrivals before fleeing on the street. Eh? Take it easy there, governor. You're gonna land us on the soup. We had a deal. You weren't gonna let him get. You weren't gonna get him into details. You weren't gonna get him into the details. Tell him, Scully. Tell him, Sulky. Set the bloke straight. I have nothing to add. So he knew, did he? And Zykes knew their testimony would almost certainly expose the extent of their crimes. It would seem now I owe my learned Nipponese friend a word of gratitude. What do you mean? What I mean is that you have helpfully confirmed as an important fact. What fact do you refer, Lord Van Zykes? As has been established, at the point of their arrest, a single shot had been fired from the brothers' guns. However, that shot found its target in Mr. Sholmes. Clearly, these witnesses cannot be accused of the fatal shooting of the proprietor and the victim. In other words, these two men have no material connection to the murder of Mr. Windybank at all. Well, that's it. These guys. That's it? We didn't have nothing to do with it. We didn't, Mash. We didn't. That's what I reckon. Their crimes include unlawful entry, intent to steal, perjury, and, let us not forget, attempted murder. What a catalog, eh, fellas? Ah, we're in for it now, bruv. Now then, let us take a moment to consider the aforementioned great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. It would seem the man patronized the pawnbroker. It would seem the man patronized the pawnbrokers in question somewhat regularly. Where's he going with it? Mr. Sholmes appears to take pleasure in tinkering with eccentric machinery. Eccentric? Says who? Not me, don't give me that look. He installed a pair of machines like this one in the victim's shop. Oh, that's one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. What is that, Counsel? It has the appearance of a photographic contraption. As your lordship has surmised, it is indeed a camera attached to a small timing device. Every half hour, it automatically photographs the interior of the establishment. The idea being that if a thief were to break into a shop, he would be caught red-handed. The prosecution has obtained the photographs taken by the device on the night in question. As the court will observe, copious identical prints are produced in quite desultory fashion. Rather prodigal, I feel. In fact, there are two such devices in the victim's shop plan. If I may refer the court to the plan of the premises, their respective positions are here and here. You say these cameras produce a print every half hour. I fail to see how that would help in the anticipated thief conducted his activities in one of the many 30-minute intervals. I can only pray that the would-be criminal lingers, my lord. On the night in question, the witnesses currently in the stand were not caught on camera. That's a bit old fryer truck, eh, bub? Lady Luck loves a skulking. Witnesses, at what time did your trespassing begin? Must have been just after 1, right, bruv? Must have been, Nash. Must have been. Yeah. Just gone 1. In which case, minutes before these brothers entered the establishment. What scene might we expect within the shop? Let us examine the evidence. Good lord, It's the defendant. And Miss Gina Lestrade. As the court can clearly see, the accused is pictured, gun in hand, facing the victim, over the shop counter. No doubt coercing the proprietor to open the door to his storeroom. White can only too easily imagine the events that unfolded. The court will take this photographic print as evidence. You please, counsel. I don't believe it, Ginny. In short, the accused is the only person who could have possibly have killed Mr. Windybank. Ah! I say, my lord. I wonder if I might put a word at this point. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Took a bally bullet to the knee in the Battle of Maywan, 1880. Don't you know? Decorated for it and all that, but forced to retire from service. Of course, a medal can never outshine the exploits of chaps like us at the battlefield. Yes, Mr. Foreman, and what exactly is your point? Carried on the battle after retirement, you see. The battle of daily life, if you like. And here I am now, leading the small squadron, 6 men, all good and true. And we'll go down together, you mark my words. One for all and all for one. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached an agreement, have you? Is that what you're saying? Is that what we are to understand, basically? Well, Mr. Foreman, is that correct? In a manner of speaking, yes. This is the Garrative Squadron's position, sir. What? No! It's too soon to make a judgment here. Status report on the court, man. On the double. If his lordship insists on promptitude at all times, that goes for making decisions too. I think you'll find the truth as clear as day now. I could reach out and touch it. I've left it in here. I just wouldn't. But in all honesty, I can't actually remember. Situation clear. Stop. No room for doubt. Stop. Truth is now undeniable. Stop. I'm very sorry, brothers. They are unlucky. Very well. I now call upon each member of the jury to state his or her leaning in this matter. Announce your considered verdicts to the court.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Oh well. There goes that, huh? It does appear that the jury is unanimous in its leanings already. Photograph. Must be the definitive evidence that Gregson mentioned. But Ginny didn't shoot him. No, of course not. My lord, the defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination. Very well, the court grants permission. So, used to admit defeat again. How unsurprising. We shall proceed immediately with the summation examination. Mr. Foreman, are all members of the jury ready? Abso-bally-lutely, sir! Always ready for action, my chaps. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. All of the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocket Tien. As a housemaid, I should like to see all the filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated. I think you'll find that if you look at that photograph in stereo, the truth will just pop out. I have left it in here. I think there'll be repercussions by now. Mind made up. Stop. Global radio and transmission to verdict to follow. Stop. In motherland, we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced brothers are innocent. accent. The circumstances of the crime and the evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively. Storeroom locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone. In the accused's hands, the fatal revolver, firing of which occurred by these witnesses. Not to mention this print. Take it from a chap who's seen action in the battlefield. That young girl's on the verge of pulling the bally trigger. Thanks a lot, Mr. Oh dear, Hurley's cameras were supposed to help, not hinder. I'm afraid I think you'll have an uphill struggle ahead of you. I didn't shoot Mr. Windybank. Because there's more to the situation than we've yet to see. Agreed. You have the floor, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. I'm ready with my sword. Sword in hand, I'm ready.
Hold it!
What exactly have you been muttering about all this time, sir? Talking about having left something somewhere. Something like that. I'm so sorry. You can probably tell I'm a surgeon. A surgeon? That totally passed me by. Of course, people conducting surgery in this country aren't considered to be doctors, oh no. Even though me and my kind are at the forefront of medical science, the real brains of the field. So what is it that you think you've left behind? Oh well, that's a little embarrassing to be honest. You see, I was operating on someone yesterday. And the thing went in through the abdomen. When I finished the procedure, I couldn't find my scalpel anywhere. What? Surely not. Exactly, surely not. You say to yourself, don't you? Worrying, Lisa, isn't it? That's what's been troubling me this whole time. Could I really have left my scalpel inside the fellow's belly? No, of course I couldn't. So, there you have it. Like I said, a little embarrassing, really. That's one way of putting it. The other's manslaughter. That's exactly my concern, and seeing that this case appears to be all but sewn up, I need to focus on remembering exactly what I've sewn up elsewhere. Now, I'm sure I made sure everything was back as it should be. Well, as you can be without being sure. Well, as sure as you can be without being sure. I'm sure you need to be more sure.
Hold it!
Polishing the bench, I see. Again? Maid's work is never done. Not a blemish must remain. What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores? On my way to the market for his lordship. I have to pass through the East End. The place is full of beggars, pickpurses, and crossmen. Scum of the earth. A little harsh, perhaps. Let me be plain. If it were up to me, all those backslums would be made spick and span, or be eradicated. These we have people like the great detective working to achieve these important goals. You're referring to Mr. Sherlock Holmes? That's right. They like to keep abreast at his exploits by reading Grandis magazine. My duties. He does wonder cleaning up London streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary maid of the capital. Mr. Holmes, maid? Really quite unforgivable. Better scum having the audacity to shoot our very greatest detective. Minor detail. It was one of the two brothers in the stand who shot Mr. Sholmes, not the defendant. A minor detail indeed. They are all gutter scum as far as I'm concerned. Well, it just might be a great idea to get our facts straight anyway. Yes, alright. I shall amend my statement. Brothers are scum in the air, they should be swing for they should swing for a shoot. Oh, and brothers are innocent, bro.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good lord, Counsel, explain yourself. Oh my statement contradictory? Contradict. D-O-N. Juror number 6, you've got the wrong end of the stick. I do not have stick. I have mouse. As juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skulkin brothers fled the scene of the night in question, they fired a shot from their revolver. Yes, they shot poor Mr. Sholmes in the abdomen. I understand. Surely you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear. Abdomen. A-B-D. Sir? Sorry. My English is still learning. You are telling the court you didn't hear. Forgive me, I did not hear. Ah, here is word. Abdomen, part of person's body containing stomach and other vital organs. Is this what you mean? You should say in plain English. I am Russian, not native speaker. Thought it'd be a good idea to let this man be on the jury again. So, you are telling me these brothers who look like criminals were lying. They said before we'd never done nothing. But truth is they shot detective, da? This is double negative. Yes, that's exactly right. Lying is wrong, especially when lie is said by a person who looks like criminal. Coming from you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced. This means, when they said we never took nothing, maybe it was also big fat lie. This true? Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so... Enough! I trust no one now. It's not the mouse's fault though. I must see with own eyes. I must investigate crime scene myself. I'm afraid that won't be possible. Yes it is, Bruno. Easily. Sorry. But the prints from Hurley's red-handed recorder. Ah. If you compare the print that pictures Ginny and the next print half an hour later, you'll be able to see straight away if anything was taken or not. Gooey, Mr. Prosecutor. Calling on the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all time. The print showing the accused threatening the victim after she broke into the shop is this one. Following this, the victim and the accused move into the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skulkin brothers enter the shop and summarily heard a fatal gunshot ring out. Sadly, none of these evidence were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later, after the brothers' flight. So this was taken after Hurley was shot then. As far as I can tell, taken. Look at the case. Can't notice anything that's obviously missing. So the brothers who look like criminals only took one lie. They shot man, but they stole nothing. It seems so, yes. Good. No, not good. You were right. I did not understand situation. And now I know brothers have lied. I think it's very important to continue with trial. You know what? Got him. We take those. Yay, well done, Bruno. The balance is shifting. Oh, it's a start, I suppose. There must be more to what these jurors are saying. That I can use to expose the truth. If I can do that, we just might turn the situation in our favor still. Thank you, counsel. Continue with the summation examination. And kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence. Another print in the court record. What if we can make use of it? Is there some? Kinda hard to tell. Definitely hard to tell when I can't look at them side by side. Oh well. What do you mean? Look at the photograph in stereo. Sorry, what? Don't you know? If you look at the photographic print normally, looks as though the pickpocket girl is about to shoot the victim. Obviously.
Objection!
There's no indication that the defendant ever fired the gun. All I'm saying is that if you look at the same print in the stereo, it reveal all sorts of new information. By any chance, are you a fan of stereoscopes? Ooh, how did you know? Let's call it a lucky guess. It never gets old seeing two prints merge into one before your eyes. It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. It's captivating. It's the height of modernity. Of course. Oh yes, I think you'll find that the stereoscope here is here to stay. Giving us new perspectives we could only dream of before. It's the greatest invention the world has ever seen. Only could give me a new perspective on this case, I might agree with you.
Hold it!
Sorry, radio transmission? What do you mean? Are you from the Far East? Stop. Yes, from the Empire of Japan. All communications with Far East nations used to take place by mail. Royal Mail steamers take more than a month to complete the journey. Ah, but now we have electric telegrams, so we can send messages using electrical signals. Thousands of miles of cables have been laid along the ocean beds, connecting the entire world. Thousands of miles of cables? On the ocean bed? Makes my head hurt just thinking about it. A well-informed young lady. Cables will soon become a thing of the past. Stop. And just when I was starting to catch up. Radio transmission is the future. Stop. Messages carried over airwaves to the four corners of globe. Stop. Excitement growing. Stop. Atmosphere electric. Stop. Really into it. Right. Try not to wear out your fingers. Era of wireless telegraphy. Stop. Driving technological revolution. Stop. And people say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. What utter piffle. I can't understand it. I really can't. They're just silly toys. Oh, he's upset at that.
Excuse me.
Jury number 3. Sorry to interrupt when you're so obviously fuming, but... What? You perhaps have something to say about jury number 5's last remark? As if I could guess. Oh, you bet I do! Say that again, go on, I dare you! Goodness, are you talking to me? I think he just might be, yes. You think stereoscopes are just toys, do you, huh? Absolutely, I mean, really, a machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions? Why on earth would you not just use your eyes to look at the world around you? It's all 3-dimensional. A great way to appease the man. No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes are of no practical use at all. You just don't know! Pardon? I think you'll find that viewing a photograph through a stereoscope can unlock all sorts of possibilities. I'm obviously going to have to demonstrate. What sort of possibilities? Well, take a crime scene, for example. You had a pair of photographs from a crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope. It can reveal hidden clues you'd never even noticed before. What? Hey, do you got any, Bruno? Any prints that you could look with a stereoscope? Absolutely. How about this print here? To do the trick, I think. As easy as these two, I mean, obviously.
Take that!
Alright, then juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints? Of course I can. Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate. I'd be delighted to. Just one more print and I'll amaze you all.
Take that!
Alright then, these 2 prints were both taken with the same camera in Windy Banks at the night in question. Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer, do you know how stereoscopic images work? Do you understand the principle? Well, I think so. I did have a lesson only yesterday. The left and right images need to be the same, only with slight shift in the positions of some objects. Then when your brain merges the two images together in your head, it notices the shift as if it were depth. Yes, exactly. It's that small shift between certain objects in two pictures that's really important. So what happens if you use two photographs that are exactly the same then? No, obviously that wouldn't work at all. Not for seeing the scene three-dimensionally anyway. Oh, of course, now I see. Ah, I think the young girl has discovered the secret. I have! Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me? Have another look at these two photographs from Hurley's camera, Runo. Go on. Can you see there's a really obvious difference between them? There are two people in the first and no people in the second. Well, yes, you can see that straight away, but now try looking at the picture in 3 dimensions. All right, I'll give it a go. Start with, you have to cross your eyes and make your two pictures overlap exactly. I can't do it, man. If I cross them, I can make the quill pens each other overlap in the middle. There's no way I'm not actually doing this. Wait. Well, did you? I didn't. Oh my god, they're gonna make me do this. I'm just not very good. That's the trouble. Oh, don't worry. I have just the thing. I happen to bring it with me. A portable stereoscope. Thank God. Oh, thank God. I don't have to do the I don't have to do the eye thing. I know I mentioned this yesterday, but if you've had the contraption with you from the, I know I mentioned this yesterday, but you've had that contraption with you from the outset. You could have saved me staring at Mr. Windyback and Gina like I hate them all the time. And if you remember, I said in enjoy. What did she say? I said in reply that it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Anyway, why don't you try using this helpful little aid now? Alright, here goes. Here you go. You gotta just done that game. I ain't doing it myself. Now I see what we've got. Wait, look at that. Ah! What's going on with these two pictures? Some of the things on the counter sort of jump out at you. Yes! That's it, you see, that's the other amazing power of stereoscopes. Other amazing power? Is someone going to explain this black magic, eh? Why the deuce do some things on the corner? Why the deuce do some things on the counter seem to jump out at you like that, I think you'll find that if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question. Basic principles of the stereoscope. As I said before, if you try to look at two identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. It's the slight shift in the positions of certain objects that let you see these pictures three-dimensionally. In other words, even though at first glance, it seems the objects on the counter haven't moved at all between the two prints, this shows that actually there must have been a slight shift in their position. Yes, there must have been. Now hold the fire there, sir. I got a reasonable grasp of the whole cross-eyed business now, I'd say. But why the devil does the shift between the two prints exist in the first place? Well, what's the answer, fella? Come on, you cross-eyed master. What? Me? I haven't the first idea. You know, Reno, it's quite simple. It is? Just think it through step by step. The first photograph taken at 1 a.m. and 30 minutes later, second photograph was taken. But the position of some items on the counter appears to have shifted slightly in the interim. So that means that sometime in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with things on the counter. Zookers! Someone tampered? New information, stop! Not to mention the testimony so far, stop! Yes. We've gone around in circles a little. We've gone around in circles a little here. I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in the summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom? Are you suggesting you might know? Of course. I can tell you right now who's responsible for the almost imperceptible shift in the items in court. I mean, I want to say it's one of the brothers, but this guy's gonna come back. Benny's gonna come back into play here. Let's just say nah.
Take that!
It was the witnesses currently in the stand, the Skulkin brothers. Wait. This does not agree with what brothers had in testimony before. They said they did not even have time to pull dukes from Lucy Lockets. My phrasebook says dukes means hands and Lucy Lockets means pockets. But this is another lie? Is this what you are saying? I'm afraid so. Now hold on there for a minute. You can't be sure of that. I quite agree. The accused is a common pickperson after all. It's perfectly possible that she went through the things on the desk, see what she might steal. I think that's unlikely. And why exactly? As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Windybank to open the storeroom door. In other words, Miss Lestrange's interest lay within the storeroom, not in the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkin brothers have omitted key facts in their testimony. But the accused is a pickpurse, common gutter trash. Why look further for the wrongdoer here? Because the Skulking brothers are thieves, madam. No better, in fact worse than the pickpurse. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would like to condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not be at least right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize the testimony given against her by two thieves? Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from the shady pair. Oh, he can't. He sanitized his hands. I guess he used his head to do that. Can you all see it now? I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand. I got 3. Wholeheartedly agree. Stop. Must purchase after trial. Stop. We'll return home via Regent Street. Stop. That's 4. That's all we need. Well, it would seem that this trial is yet to run its course. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice. I hereby call this summation examination to conclusion, with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. 2 lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without conscientious, and I order this trial to continue. Yay, we're done! Well done. Oh, by the way, what? You should hold on to this, Bruno. You never know when it might come in useful. Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely. Alright. Lord Van Sykes, you will instruct the witnesses to that the court demands additional testimony from them. I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so. I bought myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night at least. And I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. Ooh, he hit him with the to be continued. Let's go. Let's see our current progress. I am going to continue this But I will take a quick pit stop to the good old restroom. Once again, if anyone comes in, we can just let them know that if I'm missing, I've gone a fishing. I'll be right back. And if you heard the click, I'm back. Let's go ahead and get to it. Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. I presume you heard the defendant's counsel summation examination. Oh, yeah, Governor. I did, Gov. I did. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. God, blimey! It's going to be hard work. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windy Banks. Well, it was Bedlam soon as, weren't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out of me Lucy lockets. However, that was a lie. You brothers. God, blimey! On the night in question, you rifled through the items in the victim's counter. We never done nothing of the sort. How'd you figure that out? Oh, he outed them. You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time you will tell the truth. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. A thought worth pondering, perhaps. Say no more, Gov, we hear ya. We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll peach. Alright, witness testimony, we back. Illegal entry, the whole truth. Let's get it. Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling or nut for nothing. It was when we heard the gunshot, see? Made us both jump and all our stuff went flying. I mean, it didn't have to give me a fright. He was thinking the shooter'd come out of the door and get us next. We stuck everything back where we found it and scampered straight back into him in the black. We could have shot the pawnbroker, see? He never had a chance, did we? So you admit the defense's accusation. You did indeed ransack Mr. Windybank's countertop on the night in question. Not ransack, Governor, no. That's right, Nash. That's right. It's more like we tidied up, yeah. Sorry. By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good on their mess. The way I see it, you hardly sound like roughs at all. We don't, Nash, we don't. Can't you make it sound a bit more cutthroat? Can't just be coincidence men showed up at Windybank that night. There's more to their testimony than meets. Sure of it. We did knock a few things over, we weren't rifling. All the stuff went flying? It was like barely a difference.
Hold it!
So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much you knocked all the things off the counter? Well, it shocked one of us that much, yeah. This bag of nerves needs to learn to keep his shirt on. Look, it was loud, alright? Blimey, me dead granny would have woken up from that bang. Big bruv here screamed like a blooming baby and fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books and a candlestick and some skull and whatnot. I got tangled in some marionette. What knocked over a picture frame? What knocked over them scales on the floor? I really mastered working quietly then. What a racket! My granny, me granny would have been scared back into her grave like a cat. I hate the way these people talk. Me granny would have been scared back into her grave at a clatter like that. So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise, and then some.
Is that right?
It meant it was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, BAM! Oh, he don't like that.
Excuse me.
Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add? I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels. No, something to add about their testimony. You seemed to react just now at what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something? Probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother mentioning it, well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore their little detail. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard and questioned them last night, and the statement they gave me then told a slightly different story of what they're just saying now. Did it? You claim you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. Might have, Gov, might have. Does ring a bell now, don't you? Now that you mention it. Granted, it was only a minor detail, but still, I can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, eh, fellas? I discovered the witnesses' testimonies have been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be. I shall be forced to bring the very harshest of punishment to bear against them. Easy, easy. Get it right this time. That's it. Yep. We're all coming back to me now. Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds. Sirs. Right you are, Gov. before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun."
Hold it!
Oh, in fact, you heard the voice of the gun and the gunshot almost simultaneously? We did, Gov, we did! Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we heard a kind of wavering voice before the yell at all. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun! Kind of thing. You're enacting, tragically missed. But he was shot from the back. And where were the voices coming from? Could you tell? Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter it was. Storeroom? The victim was found dead. The voice you heard. It was that of the victim, Mr. Windybank. On me granny's life, of course it was. On his granny's life, of course it was. So that would mean both knew Mr. Windybank and the sound of his voice? Eh? That would mean what? What? Nash, what? Any ideas? Yes, Counsel. Indeed it would. Nah, we didn't know the geezer. How am I supposed to deny it when that bloke in all fancy clobbers give us an evil eye? If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true. On me granny's life it is. On his granny's life it must be. Good job, good job his granny's dead. Summarize then. Immediately after hearing the voice on the victim, you heard the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them on the shop floor. You make it sound like we're clumsy. Don't forget we tidied up after like good little boys anyway, the way I see it. Whoa, 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 whoa. This guy got it wrong. You're saying on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct? That's it, Gov. You got the picture. He has it, Nash. He has it. No question. Yet the photographic evidence from the time of the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windybank was not in possession of a firearm of any description.
Objection!
Surprise me. Does the defense really intend to highlight the evidence that compromises the position of the accused even more? Ah. Furthermore, the defense has failed to establish that the photographic print presented was taken a suitably short time prior to the victim's death. Your chronology is severely lacking. Counsel. Yeah, that's right. Too right, Nash. Too right. Oh, geezer could have been about to turn the tables on the girl, eh? Hardly likely. No, I'm afraid that this won't stand as conclusive evidence. Ugh. Continue with the cross-examination, Counsel. And heed my warning, witnesses. A skulkin's never skulkin'. Cool, that's cool.
Objection!
Ah, damn it. Let's save. Let's do the old save strategy, right?
Hold it!
Let's press this. You're saying that Mr. Windybank had a gun in his hands? Oh yeah, I bet that was the sight, eh? The two of them waving guns at each other. Must have got pretty heated. I mean, just before he shouted, we heard the geezer say, "If you don't want to get shot." It didn't really sound like he meant it, mind. More like an empty threat, you could say. Mr. Windybank was known to keep a revolver in his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect the articles in his keeping. He'd readily pull a bullet in someone's head if required. That's not what he says! He says he puts it in his own head! That being himself, of course. Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah. We'll say to protect the article, he's ready to put a bullet in someone's head if required. Yeah, his own head. Yeah. Okay, good grief! Extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. Well, he certainly sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person he was gonna shoot beat him to it. Cooked his goose proper. Bet he wished he'd squeezed the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, "Give me that gun." Directly after those words that you heard the gunshot? It was more or less the same time, Gov. Give me that gun! Bam! Kind of thing. Yes, fear and acting very tragically missed. And we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck. Or everything went quiet. After that, we done a slapdash tidying the place up. Alright, let's... Man,
Objection!
on the back. You're saying... On the ninth question, the victim, Mr. Windybank, was wielding a gun, is that correct? That's it, Gov, we got the picture. He has it, Nash, he has it, no question. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windybank was not holding a firearm of any description. Eh, you what? Gordon Bennett, that ain't right.
Objection!
There can be no more questions if the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that Mr. Windybank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, it was found in the accused's hand. Yeah, that mule tooler used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Give me that gun. Ah. Kind of thing.
Hold it!
Say exactly where you are, right there. Eh? If the crime had taken place as you so colorfully described in your testimony, it would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out. Goodness, are you sure, counsel? You intrigue me, my learned friend, but let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where's the proof that demonstrates this inconsistency with the witness portrayal of the victim's final moments? Bullet one from the back.
Take that!
According to their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot. Indeed, with the two events happening almost simultaneously, so we've been led to believe. Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony were true, it would mean at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Yeah, God! Oh, he's wearing shorts! I didn't realize they were wearing shorts. But, it's the God honest truth. It is, Nash, it is. When he was shot that night, the shopkeeper had a gun in his hand. We saw it with our own bleeding eyes. Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Windybank holding a gun? Something like that might have slipped out. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission of these two witnesses that on the night in question they actually saw with their own eyes the victim wielding a gun. Which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person. Nash, yeah. Order, order, order! Witnesses, explain yourselves at once. Well, the thing is, we weren't supposed to, It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witness would be the death of you. Am I to understand that you replaced the untruths of your original testimony with renewed lies? Ever so sorry, Governor. The truth is, see, we, cut it out, Nash, cut it out! If we blab now, you know what he'll do to us? What are you talking about? Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you. Bruv, come on, the game's up! But we'll have our guts for garters. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out. On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place. Well, do we have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth. Encounter with the victim. Alright, so we just got inside the Gap and he decided to relief when the geezer showed his mug. Give me that gun, he bellowed. And then he flew at us like he was possessed, thought we had it. For an old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. Pulled me gun on him, and then he legged it through that door in the back room. He never had nothing to do with killing him. That's what happened, I swear. So you're now telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop. Well, yeah. Sorry? Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably. But honest governor. What do you say? Honest governor. This time, Nash, this time. We ain't got nothing more to hide. Very well. Counsel for the defense, you may proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. This is it. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Alright, so we just got inside the Gap and he was finally when the geezer showed that gun, he bellowed it.
Hold it!
When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Windybank? Who else? Sorry, I mean, that's right. Was keeping a close eye on the entrance of the Gap, obviously. We never thought no one was gonna come out of the back room like that. The back room being the pawnbrokery storeroom? Yeah, that must have been where he popped up from. Only place he could have been. It would seem the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises. Means Ginny must have been in there at that point as well. That doesn't make sense, does it? Tina had back at the storeroom with her gun. Why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers? Oh, I don't know. You see the accused at that time? What? That Molly Tooler? Couldn't tell you. No way, Kaba. You had bigger fish to fry then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it.
Hold it!
mentioned that Mr. Windyback shouted those words in your previous testimony too. However, you claim that you've heard them yelling them on the other side of the storeroom door. Oh, did we? But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Well, yeah. Was the victim Mr. Windybank, wielding a gun at the time? Was he ever? Blimey lummy! A great ugly barrel he had, pointed straight at me front piece. What you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Windybank with a gun at the time. Is that right? It is, Gov, it is. Spot on. Then all of a sudden, he came out as he did. It was bedlam. I didn't know who was going. I didn't know who was going for who. You were clearly going for each other. Like Nash said, thought we had him. I mean, an old geezer to blow as strong as an ox. And a bigger mess would have been made, dude. Yes, I know that you mentioned the counter in your previous statement too. Well, yeah, of course we did. He knocked over a load of books and a candlestick and some skull or whatnot. Was it this? Was it? Yeah, books. Candlestick. I guess those things are candlestick, yeah. Oh, yeah. Knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull, whatnot. I got tangled in some marionette, knocked over a picture frame, knocked them scales to the floor. In fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter. Well, Big Bruv here went flying over the counter like a gunshot, I could tell you that. Then the old geezer pinned him. He did, Nash, he did! If you hadn't been there, the bloke would have flattened me like a booming pancake in seconds. At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via a secret cable from the pawnbroker. There's a button under the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim. Right. And back into they ran straight into the arriving, didn't they? Poor Mr. Banks did everything he could to protect his shop. I pulled my gun on him and...
Hold it!
How would you run away when you pull? Dude, I have so many problems with this testimony. Were you intending to shoot Mr. Windybank? No, never. I was just, you know, looking out for me, bruv, weren't I? It was being flattened, don't forget. By a man whose shop was being burgled, yes. And then the man fled to the storeroom when you pointed your gun at him. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Shoved me away, and then just ran through the door and shut himself in. Something about that last remark, it doesn't quite ring true. Mr. Windybank ran away into... What? Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him. Done. Ah. Right. You know, allegedly used Mr. to threaten him. In which case, how did the gun end up in Windybank's hand? I have no idea. But that is strange, isn't it? Inconsistent. This little inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it. Look, the point is, me and my bruv here. That's right, Nash. That's right. Me and my bruv here. We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's not what happened. That's all what happened.
Hold it!
Say you had nothing to do with it? Nothing at all. Nothing, Gov. Nothing. The old geezer went and shut himself in the back room, didn't he? Locked it was from the inside. We know it because we tried to open it. But it's a decent door, that one. Good and strong. Wouldn't budge an inch. In the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could have possibly shot the victim, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade. It would appear indeed so. What say you to that, counsel? I don't know. Was there anyone else apart from Gina who could have possibly shot Mr. Windybank? Yeah. Mr. and Mr. Wait, what do you say? Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Hey, what? What's that look for? From the moment you admitted you'd encountered the victim face to face that night. The course of this trial changed completely. It did? What is your point, my learned friend? The question we must answer is, who could have shot Mr. Windybank? It is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer at all. You have my attention. In that case, let us return to this plan in the premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So pray, what other possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be? Counsel, you must now provide answers to the court in respect to two conundrums. Two, my lord? Yes, right, maybe? Indeed, namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time? Understood, my lord. Are you alright, Runo? I'm not entirely sure, but there's one thing I am sure about. I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened. It could change Gina's prospects hugely. So now, time for some clarity. Show the court on this plan the answers to the questions posed by his lordship. You believe someone else could have killed the victim. Indicate from where that person could have fired the gun. Right around here.
Take that!
Defense believes that the culprit could have shot the victim from his location here. To answer the second question, assuming the culprit was fired from the location indicated, was the victim at the time? Right around here.
Take that!
The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. Mr. Windybank died instantly from a bullet wound in the back. Also, my reasoning for that is there was a little door, like a cubby hole that he could stick his hand through and shoot. Mr. Windybank died instantly from a bullet wound to his back. Look at the stain of blood on the storeroom floor. It doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is where the shooter was from the where was the shooter when the fatal blow was fired? So you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom? Well, according to the Skulker brothers earlier in the earlier testimony, pulled me gun on him, and then he legged it through that door in the back room. Mr. Windybank ran away through the door. We'd have to assume that the door was open at the time. Ah! It was at precisely that moment when the victim was when the victim was fleeing for his life that these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man at the back once he was inside the storeroom. Yeah, gah! I mean, their gun still only has one full fire. Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial? Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner, his report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. It means that the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. And shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety. Ah, of course! He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. Even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would have entered his body on an upward trajectory. The culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Windybank.
Objection!
I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten. The storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. He claimed the victim was shot as he fled into the room. He also claimed his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock. Ah, but what if someone else locked the door? Yes, there's someone else who could have locked the storeroom door. Is that so? Very well, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario you just described, the defense's assertion is that the victim was shot from the outside the storeroom. In which case, who shut and locked the storeroom door from the inside? Literally process of elimination.
Take that!
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Objection!
That's absurd. You're suggesting that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room? For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around her neck. I'm inclined to agree, I must say. Well, counsel? Ah, yes, that's a tricky one, that, isn't it? Half-baked notions have no place in my courtroom, counsel. Remember that, please. But of course Ginny would have locked the door. Almost goes without saying, doesn't it? It does? Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they? Oh yes, obviously. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Windymack were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at the time, but at some point, Mr. Windymack must have heard the intruders breaking in his shop and left the storeroom. Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv. Your theory is correct. That would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. Hit in the back by a bullet, Mr. Windymack fell on the floor where he was just inside the storeroom door. And if we have to ask ourselves now, what we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that moment? Ah, I see where you're going with this. Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windybank. As soon as his thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it, in order to save her own life.
Hold it!
But I mean, we ain't the ones who done it. We ain't, Gov, we ain't. You've got to believe us. I mean, come on. We'd never shoot no one.
Objection!
That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would, because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There's only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Stulken, you brothers have had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Windybank's murder. Gah! Where does this leave us? You mean to say it wasn't the pickpocket who shot the pawnbroker after all? Should have known it was those three brothers. They look shady as ever. Three brothers that are including the inspector! That was amazing, Runo! All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now. I know, first time ever. And probably the last. Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll have a verdict of not... An admirable effort, my learned friend. What's this now? He's laughing? You find the situation amusing, Lord Van Zykes. I find the defense's argument quite most persuasive. Yeah, cause then we have a whole situation about which gun shot the bullets, cause only one was shot from each gun. Windybank was holding one of them, and by my logic, the robber's gun was shot twice. Nah, it's not the best argument in the world. I dare say, such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers of your powerful Eastern nation. But blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than an inexcusable pedophagy here? What? The hypothesis you put forward is so ostensibly, credibly, cannot and will not stand. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your own logic's failings? Oh, I'm familiar. I say, Lord Van Zykes. Might be an idea to explain his bally conjuring trick, or whatever it is the troops of the ground. The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets. By George, count bullets? Oh dear, he knows then. Huh? Everyone talking about? Counsel, Yeah, sir! Tell the court, how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime? Two! 2 bullets! Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second, that which struck the detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, on his arrival at the scene. Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body to strike this calendar. Your lordship understands this. Your lordship. Nah, wait, what are you saying? Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know that there are 2 firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonged to the victim, Mr. Windybank, and the Skulkin brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Yes, indeed, it does. A single bullet from each. Now then, my learned friend. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these 2 brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did. Oh my goodness, I think you'll find that if the single bullet that was fired from the brothers' gun hit Mr. Sholmes, it means Windybank was not shot by the same gun. Stop. Only 1 bullet. Stop. Exactly. Yes, this Nipponese street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick with no hope of standing up to scrutiny. Ah! What an attack. What a powerful attack that was. Order! 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 Oh, look at him toss that bottle. Pray, forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hallowed nectar into the public gallery. Look, Lord Van Zykes. But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can, regrettably, no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a long-abiding citizen. She has a past riddled with criminal conduct. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbrokeries on the night in question with loathsome intent. As we can see beyond a doubt in the sprint which depicts her threatening the victim with the murder weapon. And I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present. A disc. I'll be taking that, whatever it is, of McGilda's down to the yard, thank you very much. No, don't give it to him. It's mine. That's mine. Mine. I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to McGilda has to be taken in as evidence now. Yes, that music box disc. McGilda's music box disc. The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Windybanks, the accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly doesn't belong to her. And with none of the subtlety of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force and brazen impudence. Good gracious! Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths to which this girl would not stoop if pushed. No crime she would not commit. The court forgets that fact at its peril. I see. I think it would be prudent to take this music box disc into evidence, counsel, as a grim testament to the defendants. As a grim testament to the defendant's counter. Lord Van Zykes, Inspector Gregson? What? Yes, Inspector. We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution services, and, I think it was agreed that the disc wouldn't be used as evidence. What's this all about? Why is the inspector acting strangely? That's the first time he said anything about... That's the first time he said anything to Van Zykes at all. I am unaware of such meeting. But those were the instructions right from the top. The government bigwigs were insistent. inspector. I am the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. You're telling me government corruption is what he's fighting? The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord. Indeed. Bailiff! The prosecution has established the accused's motive, opportunity, and basis of character. There is nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case. I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once. For all 5 minutes. Oh dear. It wasn't even for 5 minutes, Reno. My lord, I wonder if I might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about in a bit of a fog up until now, if truth be told. But all of a sudden, the answer's bally obvious to me and my men. Bally obvious to me and my men. There's only one thing for it. Oh no. Very well. The court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your leanings as to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
There we go.
Guilty.
Guilty.
We gotta do this again. We have a consensus among the jury, it seems. And you have eliminated the impossible. Whatever remains must be the truth. That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley. How dare he use it against us? Don't worry, Iris. I don't think we're finished yet. There's a little more to this case than we realize. There must be, because there's one thing I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windybank. That's beyond any doubt. Very well. We will proceed with the second summation examination of the day. Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready? Gyaradev Squadron is primed and ready for action, sir. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have now determined the defendant to be guilty. Our judicial findings. Let's go. What's a rogue? Always a rogue, I say. Different breed of us law-abiding citizens. As only 2 bullets were found at the scene, I would say the whole case is done and dusted. You don't need a stereoscope to see the truth here. Every which way you look at it, it was that pickpocket. I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief. The accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead. I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns. It would seem there is little remaining room for doubt. I have to admit, I was rather bowled over by the argument put forward by the chap in black. But when that fell apart like a house of cards, I saw that I'd jolly well been hoodwinked. Well, no more. This whole courtroom is turning against me. It's not fair, Iris. That prosecutor's being mean. Just because Ginny's done something she shouldn't have done in the past, that doesn't make her a murderer. Allow me to savor this fruity vintage while I savor the spectacle of your fruitless debate on the matter. Here's to the truth coming out, eventually. That's enough preamble, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. The defense's rebuttal? Let's go. I thought you were just a tourist. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. There's no way he's just visiting. You know, he's just a visiting tourist. So, you're a ballistics expert. Who knew? I have much experience with guns. Ah, I have lived through many. How do you say, extreme, violent, bath of, no, blood of, extremely violent bloodbaths, perhaps. Ah, those extremely violent bloodbaths. English is very different tongue. Considering the sort of people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have a tongue. Anyway, if you have questions about bullets and guns, you ask me. There's nothing I do not know. No mystery I cannot solve. Very confident in his knowledge of guns, that's for sure. But, if possible, please only in a Russian language. He's not very confident in his knowledge of English though, is he? No, still, we should bear in mind. He's our man if there's a mystery involving guns or bullets. I've managed to convince everyone. When you have eliminated the impossible, he said, but he hasn't. We're going to fight back. We need more material. We have to fight back. And we have to fight back. We have to turn this trial around again.
Hold it!
It's the number of bullets that has you convinced. Only 2 bullets were fired. And the 2 guns that fired them have been examined by the police. When the parlor maid asks me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings. Well, that's logical, I suppose. Although, yes, sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. 1 or 2 guests rather like to fine china. Does your employer dine with thieves? Oh, I suppose. There was another bullet somewhere, of which we were unaware. I'd have to reconsider my position. A 3rd bullet somewhere on the scene. Could that be possible? Is there a way to prove that? Like right now? I don't think I have anything as of right now that could prove it. Fortunately, the 2 bullets were discovered by the police during their investigation. Yes, I know. Right. And I don't imagine the good man of Scotland Yard would have overlooked anything. If I missed a bullet while I was cleaning his lordship's office well, I should receive a sound scolding, I don't doubt. And he should receive a visit from the police, perhaps. It sounds like a crime scene to me. And the 3rd bullet. It would completely turn things around if there were one, wouldn't it? Do you think we might find one lying around somewhere?
Hold it!
What do you mean you're in for a busy day? Forgot to say stop. Do excuse me, stop. I am a communications officer. Stop. Communications officer? Does that have something to do with sending telegrams? Everything from personal messages written by members of the public to the latest news in the capital. I convert all the messages into Morse code and tap it out to the entire world electronically. To entire world? Thousands of miles of cables underneath the sea. Stop. Worldwide communications network. Stop. Information transmitted to and from all corners of the globe. Stop. Ah, yes, she was getting equally worked up about radio waves or the like before, wasn't she? I specialize in communication information from the government departments and newspaper offices. I see. I'm sure I shall have to wiretap the newspaper reports of today's guilty verdict later. So no sleep for me tonight, I imagine. Let's travel first, shall we?
Hold
This one's kind of rough. Just because Miss Lestrade has a history of pickpocketing doesn't she must be guilty of murder? Is that what you're saying? Ah, well, all members of the British Army are so quick to judge. I beg your pardon? Are you mocking Her Majesty's Armed Forces, the greatest military organization in the world? No, I'm simply illustrating my point. Making some assumptions about people because they're a soldier or a pickpocket is wrong and dangerous. Well, yes, might have a point there, I suppose. Let's not forget the girl has already shown she had it in her from the beginning. She's clearly a criminal of sort through and through, can't deny it. When you say that she's shown she had it in her, are you referring to this? Exactly, tried to swipe that only a day earlier, Or am I mistaken? Not exactly, given that I was actually there at the time, it's hard to refute that. I've never actually seen the real thing, I can't wait to have a closer look at it. Oh yes, of course. Mr. Sholmes did use his caramel bars to make a copy of the disc, didn't he? Then ordered every type of music box he could find across the Empire. We still don't know what tune it plays though, do we? I'd love to see how the original compares to Hurley's copy. Gild's disc. Can it be a clue somehow? Perhaps we should examine it in more detail. Oh, well, let's examine it. Can we examine it though? Whose blood was this again? Oh, Runo, look! It's this is blood! Yes, you're right, just a small smear, but definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before. Aha! Then it's my time to shine again! Thought I'd be waiting forever. Alright, hold still with that disc, Bruno. Get this done quickly then. What color is it? It's green! Ooh, a lovely bright shade again! Wait, that color. What is it? It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that color, is it? I remember I was there. I was there when that thing got... when that blood got on there. I forgot whose blood it was. Green. Who the fuck was... I was there for that. It was... I think it was Eggs Benny. It was either Sholmes or Eggs Benny. I don't remember. No, it couldn't have been Sholmes. Because... it couldn't have been Sholmes because Sholmes didn't touch it toward the end.
Hold it!
So if I've understood correctly, you need two pictures, a left one and a slightly different right eye one. Exactly! Then you can see the scene from 3 dimensions, like this! So, you have 2 bullets, I don't suppose you can see anything useful with it? I think you'll find, no matter how much you squint, the truth of the situation always looks the same here. The only person who could have shot the victim, that girl in the dock. How can you be so sure of that? Think about it, the Skulkin brothers shot the great detective, didn't they? Yes, that's been mentioned once or twice. Well then, surely it's come to focus just now, isn't it? A waste of time. It's not going to change this man's opinion anytime soon. I think it's the only guy left. I didn't.
Hold it!
Ah, press. Would you please stop muttering about these things that have nothing to do with the trial, sir? The defendant's life is on the line here. Well, the thing is, I couldn't really say that this has nothing to do with the trial, to be honest. Huh? I mean, there's no question that the man was shot, but the bullet had simply vanished. From his stomach. It's quite inexplicable, don't you think? Oh, he was Sholmes' surgeon. I almost don't want to ask, but the surgery you've been muttering about all this time, you were operating on... What's that fellow's name now? Hairlich? No. Hairlock? No. Hairlock? Hairlock Sholmes, by any chance? Yes, good lord! Yeah, it was that Hairlock fellow. What? You're the surgeon that operated on Mr. Sholmes? That's right. The very latest anesthesia techniques, I might add. It was a fairly major op, I can tell you. This is crazy. Let me see. The fellow was brought in not long after midnight, if I remember correctly. He said he'd been shot by some criminal or other. So I opened him up like a shot. But the funny thing is, I went over his insides with a fine-tooth comb and couldn't find the bullet anywhere. I'm afraid I had to throw it up in my hands and stitch up the fellow back up. Hate to state the obvious, but yes, surely that's because the bullet is at the scene of the shooting. The counsel for the defense is correct. Clearly shows this photographic print. The bullet that the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region. Then exited his body and lodged into the shop wall where the calendar was hanging under the calendar was hanging pretty higher than his stomach was. I think you'll find this really quite simple if you just consider the problem three-dimensionally. Who do you think I am, son? Well, juror number 4 is about the best I can do. As soon as I saw the wound in the man's stomach, I flipped him over. Like a pancake? Are you saying that you checked his back? Of course I did, and there wasn't a trace of injury. No sign of the bullet had left the body at all. Wait, what? That's the point! The only logical conclusion was that the bullet was still somewhere in the man's innards! Which is exactly why I said about slicing him up. And I'm still none the wiser even now. How many times do I have to say it? Can somebody please explain how it happened? Can someone please solve the mystery? Almost as much of a mystery as to how this jury was put together. The mystery of where the bullet ended up is infuriating. Where's an expert when you need him? Oh, we have an expert right here.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict the idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other. Oh, a ballistics expert. Pitting. P-I-T-E. On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes was shot by one of the Skulkin brothers. But since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we can assume the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body either. Furthermore, a bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop where Mr. Sholmes was shot. Juror number 6. Hello, my name is Villain. Pleased to meet you. Oh my god, his name is Villain. Is that you, Eddie? This apparent contradiction in the facts is so clearly troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery? I have seen very similar situation in Motherland. It was night. There was blizzard. I was running away along mountain road in freezing cold. Golly. Snow was piling high on both sides of the road. It was very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles, and they were dog sled. Mental note, don't ask too many questions. I was shot from behind, and I fell down in the snow. And the situation was very similar to what I hear today from doctor. They could not find bullet in my body. No sign of, how do you say, exit wound. Then where did the bullet go? Bullet never hit me. Well, if it never hit you, how did you fall over? Bullet hit frozen wall of ice very close to my side. What? One small piece, very sharp, broke away from a lump of ice and pierced my body. Made very deep wound that looks like bullet wound. Good gracious! Of course, piece of ice quickly melted inside me, and there was solution of, and that is solution to mystery of disappearing bullet. But that doesn't answer the question at all. Shooting happened at a pawnbroker shop, not some snowy mountain road in another country. Just an idea, but we might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here. No, where exactly was Hurley shot again? Well, according to the report, his stomach. Sort of around this area, I think. Well, that's precisely where he always wears a little pouch on his belt. Pouch? Actually, I might have noticed something like that. Yes, a pouch. Where he keeps his. It's where he keeps 3 glass vials. Vials of very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations. What? Really? Doctor, where's the pouch Mr. Sholmes was wearing? Well, Bill had nothing like that on his person when he arrived at the hospital as far as I can remember. By me. Lord Van Zykes? While I realize it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a summation examination, I should inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom. Sorry? As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound. Ah, thank goodness! I thought I was getting forgetful for a moment. Since then, it has been in my safekeeping along with all other evidence relating to the case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred. Very well. While extremely unconventional during a summation examination, I must demand the prosecution present the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Herlock Sholmes' pouch. I see. So this is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes on the night in question, is it? Look at that, one of the files is broken. And the leather around it is scorched black. Almost as if the file exploded. Exploded? So, that night, the bullet from Skulkin Brothers' gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch. And it was the glass vial exploding that caused the fellow's injury. This bullet did not penetrate victim, but was deflected into wall of shop. A delightfully complex aroma. Wrong voice. Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least. Though it has no bearing on the truth of this. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective, and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of the case remain unaltered. But at least the mystery is solved! I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man. Ah, thank you very much. Glad I could help. Due to its bearing on the conundrum just solved, the court will sequester the scruffy pouch as evidence. Hurley's pouch isn't scruffy. Shows about wearing on the ways of one last violence smash and there's. Now, submission examination. It would appear the defense is somewhat struggling to alter opinion. Please, my lord, a little more time. After all, that's a new piece of evidence. It could be a valuable clue. Can't afford to overlook anything here, Inosuke. Still the way it turns around somehow, I'm sure of it. Alright, so I've actually pressed everyone now, but now I have new evidence, right? I have the vial. I guess wrong. I think we should examine it. See if there's anything hidden here. Back. What? Wait, what? There's a bulge here. Oh look, there's a hole here in the back. Look, doesn't look like much of a bullet hole. Literally ripped through the leather with great force. Something must have pierced it somehow to have left this hole behind. Yeah, it looks that way. Mr. Sholmes and his pouch both took a beating, didn't they? I wasn't the one I was talking about. I was talking about it. Oh look, maybe if I examine it from. These glass files are full of Hurley's homemade potions. Homemade? Yes, like fingerprint powder. Show up where people have touched things. And scent amplifying solution to intensify a smell lingering on an object. That's amazing. They're all very easy to use. There's just one thing that you have to be careful of. All very flammable. Mr. Sholmes is a walking bomb! If he's passionate about finding the truth, or just oblivious to the dangers. This bulge here is what's getting me. I just don't know how to quite examine it. Solid's been smashed to pieces. Presumably this is where the bullet struck. As soon as the bullet hit the chemical in the file, it would have been a really big explosion. Big explosion? Well, Hurley explosions and chemicals are amazingly useful for investigating the work he does. They're also quite tricky to handle, safely at least. They're very dangerous. Oh. I'm sure that when this file was broken, the chemical inside would have ignited. Note to self, always walk on the right-hand side of Mr. Sholmes in the future. The left is danger zone. That's nothing though. Really scorched badly just here. Oh, the strap is broken, look! Must be where the bullet hit then. Let me see. Oh, there's the bullet. What the? Iris, look! Behind where the broken file was. You see? Ah, that's the Skulkin Brothers bullet! What a stroke of luck that it hit his pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is, there were 3 bullets fired at Windy Banks that night. We found exactly what that juror was talking about. The 3rd bullet! It's time to press that juror again, I think. Let's go, we found it! I knew this bulge here was suspicious.
Hold it!
Alright, let's just skip to the part where we can present the bullet. Allow me to show you then. The 3rd bullet. The 3rd bullet. Right here. Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question in Windy Banks Pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired! What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjurer? Where did you find that bullet? It was lodged inside Mr. Sholmes' pouch. What? This pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholmes' waist before he was taken to the hospital, and since then it has been touched by no one. Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulkin brothers that night? Yes, as your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch. But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible on this photographic print. Ah! 2 guns from the scene have already been submitted in the court record as evidence. Yes, that of Mr. Windybanks, and that belonging to the Skulkin brothers. An examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each. Ah! But that must mean... That's right. We now know on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. And until that incontrovertible fact, until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. Ugh. Ah! Order! 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 While this summation examination remains incomplete, the court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case against the defendant has been built. As is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination. By Jupiter! What? Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once! This is actually this is quite exciting. Witnesses. Governor! Were you listening to the proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination? We was, Governor, we was! Perhaps we can dispense with the tedious preamble and simply answer this one question. The third bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that? Make of it, Gov? I don't make nothing of nothing. I can't help it. Is it one of yours? Oh, blimey, Gov. Gore, blimey, not a chance. In that case, did you have an accomplice? What? What? Never. The Sculpin brothers work alone. That's not just the two of us. It's our trademark. How soon we forget poor Sulky. Only two of the bullets from the crime scene originated from firearms we have in evidence. The third bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it? Blimey, that's an head scratcher. Counsel for the defense. Yes? I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The third bullet and the mysterious missing firearm from whence it came. Thinking back over the testimony we've heard, all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this third bullet tells us about the Skulkin brothers. On that night at Windy Bank's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a third man. The witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of this accomplice. But with the evidence all points to the fact that there was someone else present carrying a gun.
Objection!
An accomplice, you say? Pillswig. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 summation examinations. Yet in all that time, there has not been a murmur of a third man. It's just apparently wraith-like being exists. The court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. Ugh. The prosecution demands answers on 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence, that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. Secondly, the identity of this spurious character. Skulkins are lying, I know that. But, how can I ascertain the identity of the person Well, counsel? Must prove the existence of this accomplice and reveal the person's identity even. In response to the prosecution's demands, my lord, defense is... Can we bullshit our way into this? Third person, huh? Well, you know, let's do the old save-a-rooney. Alright, well, let's present our answer. Let's present some answers that we make up. Defense is ready. I believe I can provide all the answers to the prosecution's demands. So, my Nipponese friend, despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. Promise to be interesting. I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it were to make a difference. In that case, counsel, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof do you have that there was a third intruder present at the scene? Alright. This is fucked up. Okay, actually, one second. I do have to use the bathroom again. While the tension's at its finest, you know. Or nature calls, you know. And you know what's in nature? Fish. If I'm missing, I've gone fishing. Man, that's a record. I'm back. I'm back. You know what? This might be a record in the amount of fishing I've done in the stream. Prove that there was a third intruder. I mean, the bullet, right? The bullet's the only thing I can think of.
Take that!
The evidence is this. You perplex me, Counsel, by looking so pleased with yourself, despite the quite displeasing answer. Ah, my learned friend has a knack for it, Lord. Seems presenting nothing as though it was something. The favorite trick of the Nipponese conjurer. Well, I think it takes a certain genius to give such a completely wrong answer personally. The kind of genius I could really do without. I have to think again. In that case, Counsel, what are you saying? In that case, Counsel, I would ask to present evidence without delay. On the ninth question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what is the proof that you are third in I guess it's this, it's green blood, right? If it's not the bullet, it's gotta be the green blood, because at first I thought that was Sholmes' blood, but I don't think it is.
Take that!
No. Sholmes' blood wouldn't have gone into the calendar. The evidence is right here, in this portfolio. By Jove, that portfolio again, is it? Do you expect the court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim one of those blood samples proves the evidence of this third intruder. Well, which one is it?
Take that!
What am I looking at here? This appears to be some green paint or such like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar. That's a blood stain, my lord. A blood stain? Green blood? Curious, even for you. Is the court to understand that the intruder was an unhuman creature? It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. By the great detective? New invention, stop! Not yet appeared in stories, stop. It's this, you see? It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger sprays a chemical that reacts with different elements in people's bloods and changes the color. Different elements? In people's blood? Yes. Everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what color it changes to, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is. Ooh, that brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk of blood in courtroom? Stop. Very exciting. Stop. As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Windybank. Ah, striking blue. Yes, so you see, the green color of this bloodstain in the calendar shows somebody else was shot in the main part of the shop. Now hold there, no, hold fire there, young man. Could this be from some unrelated incident? Could it? No, I don't. It's not unrelated. The date showing the calendar is the date on which Mr. Windybank was killed. By golly! Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day. And whose blood is it? Well, the Skulkin brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot wound, which means it must be blood of somebody else. The third intruder, in fact. Whose identity? The court is still whose identity? The court is still waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is the alleged third intruder? Dude, it's gotta be the dude ex Benny. It's gotta be ex Benny.
Take that!
The man's name is it's ex Benny. Ex Benny? Who on earth are you talking about, Counsel? He paid a visit to Windybank's pawnbrokery on the afternoon before the incident took place, when the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into her possession. That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. X Benny, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force. Broker, yes, sir. I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no? Yes, article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Now that's a lie! What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say... Oh shit! He does the poses like the brothers! He's the third brother! And any music box discs is too. Oh my, he's the third brother. He poses like them as well. Inspector Gregson was there at the time, and he can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc. Can you corroborate this account, Inspector? Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. And in the interest of being thorough, I asked Windybank for a print showing the fellow. Taken from one of his red-handed recorder Gubbinses. Yes, that's him talking to Mr. Windybank that morning. You claim this man is the brother's accomplice. Well, Mr. Skulkin. Never seen that geezer before in me life. On me life, Gov. On me life. Never seen him. Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion. I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice. Yes, and I can. Then show us the evidence. I agree. We must see proof that the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph is the filthy criminal you say he is. It's the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling that something had been missing from this trial from the very start. Now, I'm going to drag it, kicking and screaming, into the courtroom. Are you ready to present your answer to the court then, counsel? Yes, my lord. The defense will present the evidence now. Proof that the man pictured in this photograph was in fact the person struck by the third bullet. If I recall, he is the one who bled on here.
Take that!
That proof is right here, in this portfolio. Good gracious, counsel! Does that portfolio contain the answers to every question posed? I see you share my interest in claret-colored liquids, my Nipponese friend, but... Enough. The court demands to see further evidence. Which blood sample proves this man you identified was the one shot by the third bullet in your claims?
Take that!
As I mentioned before, on the afternoon and day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Windybanks, which is when the aforementioned Eggs Benny appeared on the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession, no? That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred. But of course, sir. Here's a disc for you. Very well. I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute, that disc is mine! Ah! What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal! Being a music box, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions over its surface. Those protrusions cause Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is visible on the disc now. Goodness, a bloodstain is that! My sister and I have analyzed the bloodstain here, this very courtroom, using my trusty fogger gun. Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio. I say, it's green! It's exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar. The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. X Benny, who was in Windy Banks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night. So there was someone else there. Look at the two brothers now, they're sweating buckets. Oh, who are you talking to? It's boiling in here. My lord, it is the opinion of the defense that Mr. Eggs Benny should be summoned to the courtroom to testify. It would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence.
Objection!
This has gone on long enough now. This flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Sherlock Holmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes. A god of detection of some sort. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court of the land? Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So the bloodstain turned a shade of green. What of it? Here's to you successfully proving that no other blood in the world would turn the same color. Ah, well... And pray, do not even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it. Ah. Is he right? Mr. Sholmes can caution that? I don't know. I mean, he's a great detective. What are you talking about? We can't let him get away with that? Fuck. It would come to this. Of course, Mr. Sholmes' mention isn't going to be recognized by any official body, but what the choice do I have? I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over here said before. About how he was temporarily suspending the summation examination. Ah, in other words, the examination isn't over yet, is it? Good grief! What did you say, young girl? And in a summation examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least, not for now. Yes, she's right. Young lady, you have quite the devious mind. It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Runo. Is that about right? Is that about right, would you say? Or am I did I misunderstand something? Unbelievable! Mr. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with! Iris Wilson, sharpshooter. After that shrewd precise of the situation from an entirely unexpected source. It must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion. This is absurd! Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leanings in this matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to a fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty!
Not guilty.
Let's go! 4 out of 6, we take those! 2 call guilty and 4 call not guilty. Such is the outcome of the summation examination.
Objection!
My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision. On what grounds? These jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to real police work. And they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt. Sorry, Lord Van Zykes, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. This trial will continue. Ugh. Ah! Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible. What? The name of the gentleman who gave himself Eggs Benny is quite clearly false. I don't believe it. It's when I managed to prove the man was there that night. Could I say something? What's that? Please, who spoke? It was me, my lord. You're number 5? What have you to say, madam? If possible. Inspector. Eh? Me? Ma'am? I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again. The one in which the gentleman is shown. Ah, yeah, right, yes. This one you mean? Of Mr. Benedict? Yes. There's no doubt in my mind. You're number 5? You don't mean to say you know this man? Yes, I know him. What? No. Good gracious! Order, order, order! You're number 5, how on earth? I'm a communications officer, stop. You can clearly see. The gentleman in the photograph is, stop. Also a communications officer, stop. He works in my office, stop. Oh, her eyes are glistening brightly. A very talented operator, in fact, stop. He should be in the communication station now, stop. Tapping away on the telegraph, stop. Doesn't seem right somehow. Can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right. We all imagined the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out that he has a respectable job by day, whatever he gets up to at night. Suppose that's it. Suppose that's why I felt something. If the gentleman is at London's communication station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Van Zykes, if you please. Yes, my lord. Make the necessary arrangements with all haste. Yes, your lordship bids. As your lordship bids. The court will recess for 1 hour. When the new witness arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson. Yes, my lord. I should like to hear from you specifically about the events at the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess. Yes, sir, my lord. Very well. The court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m. Damn. Is Eggs Benny really wasn't Eggs Benny? Let's go. Alright, so we're gonna go and call it a stream at that. The epic conclusion where we finally get to question Eggs Benny is fastly approaching. We're gonna go ahead and let's see. Yeah, we'll raid Chewy. He's playing Demon Souls. Yeah, Chewy playing Demon Souls, man. Go ahead and raid him. Because why the fuck not? Really want to thank everyone who stuck around to watch. Special thanks to Solomon for being first. And also, before we go, we do have the one last bit of admin to do. That I wanna do. Bye everybody, thanks for watching. See ya. See you next time.